Here is the kickoff session about Analytics Workbench. We'll show you how to set up the environment and run it on the local server. As you can see on the GitHub, there are some folders here, components UI, user interface, and there's some Maven repository that we had to put it here because of the server problem, and also the API. So take a look at the components. Let's see what is inside. So as you can see, there are many components inside of the backend. They're in Java. And here you can see the README. We try to make it enrich as much as possible. So we go step by step to review how we can install and set up the environment. So because this README is more complete in compare of the UI README, we will use it until the end of this video, I think. So you need to install the current JDK and PostgreSQL. Also, you can check this link for initialization, and after you initialize that, you can easily run the PostgreSQL server. So here is my terminal. You can start and stop it. Let's start the PostgreSQL. Now it says it's ready to accept connection, and we need to also make a database. So with the name of workbench. So here is our database. You can check the tables, everything here also. So here you can see the tables, the user, everything in detail. You can take a look on this link for if you're not familiar with Postgre. And up to this level, we need to run this one for running the project. It's necessary. Also, some modules need include the R packages. Take a look at this link and install these packages that mentioned here. I can suggest you that install this program. I think it's also available on Windows machine. And our package installer, you can easily search for example, iGraph, and then you can choose the version that you want and then install it very easily. So and also you can use this command in our environment. Let's check the R console. Yeah. If you open our console, you can see here you can use these commands, or you can install them separately and see the logs, and if there is any problem you can debug it much more easier. So here is for UI. First we're gonna try to set up the UI. I use WebStorm. You can use Atom or any other IDEs. So let's check the UI for workbench analysis. So here we have the client v2, that the React part. It's the new part that we're gonna improve this part in the future. And the as you can see, there are some node packages, and also you should set up the host keys before you run. It's also mentioned in detail about these keys, private key, how you can set up on the Mac and the Windows machine, and you should put them in the security folder. You should make it manually after you clone the UI part from the analytic workbench package. So let's go forward. What we need also to install Redis. You can download the Redis as a folder, and also there on GitHub you can download it, I think. And we need to run the Redis server. So to do that, I'm going to the Redis folder. So here's the Redis project, and the README file you can see in detail they mentioned. We just go to the source library, and then we run the Redis server. So because it's already started, you cannot duplicate the server, but with this command you can run the server. But at the beginning you should make also the package. So the third part that we should do on the backend is they change the Sisob config file. Before that, I forget to mention about these two folders. We need to make a result folder in the main folder of our project, and the security folder inside of the UI part. And then we put our private key and the certificate file. These two files are necessary for running the server, local server. So let's check Sisob config. I use IntelliJ as ID for backend part. Most parts are in Java. So here is our components, and in my branch I have to copy Sisob inside of the project folder. But before that was in one component executor component, but no matter, we just open it. So you can also add the PHP plugin, then you can see them colorful. When you command them, they will gonna be gray. It's maybe useful to see them much more clearly. And you can do them step by step. Here is for Mac, for my system, and take care about the server data port is 5432, and here is for Windows, setting for Windows that you should for example address the result folder. It depends on your local settings. You should find, you should put this path, and other more settings. You can just localize this Sisob config file just like that, and here you can find the detail. After that, we need to initialize the database. Let's do it. So I'm in the component folder. I'm doing mvn maven plain install. Sorry. So if you have problem in the dependency, for example, Maven dependency, you cannot be found on the remote server, you can check here and add in the POM XML file. For example, for this component, you can see how you can add the dependency and the version. And sometimes you need to update these versions, or If the server is not exist, you can address into the local, or you can put it in the Maven repository that we already have on the GitHub file. Let's check if everything fine. Meanwhile, we can take a look into their README file again. So we need to run also post-grade initialization and run this Java, because I did it before and I don't need to run this command again, but for first time it's also necessary. In the UI part, you also have to run the command, node commands to create users. It exists in the workbench UI README file. So let's go to the backend. Yeah, everything's looks good. And then we need to go to the executive component. Let's check. Here is the executive component, src main in the Java, and here is a post-grade initializer. You have to run this file. This is a config of your executor, and this is when you want to run the backend, you need to run this one. Let's first take a look to run the local server on the front end. This is the Redis. Okay. So before anything, you need to run npm install. But as I said, I already did this settings, and we just go forward, and then we need to run for a local server. We need this command. Also, it would be better if you do it with your IDE. It's same. Let's try. I will kill this task and run it from IDE, because if you have some problem, you can see the console log in this form. It would be better. So let's check these parts. I will use Google Chrome because easier for debugging. So it mentioned it's not secure. You just click on advanced and process and unsafe, and admin default value. So we already log in. So because we didn't run the backend, we don't expect to have the file here. Let's click on here. As you can see, this is from the cache, but you need to run the backend as well. We run the executor. So let's see for running the backend. Also, for go deep inside the PostgreSQL, I suggest to install this pgadmin. This is the UI for big SQL. Also, you can find the for displaying the object that you want, and you can see the server, local host, and you can take a look on the port. And then, because now we run the backend, you can see your workbench is also here. Inside the tables, I want to see. You can check the database with pgadmin UI. It's a bit easier than terminal. So here, let's see, everything I think is it looks good. Now we can work on the front-end part as well. Classic UI. You can add the component. So let's create this one. You can do drag and drop, for example, direct uploader, upload your file, and then continue in the pipeline. But I want to show you also the new version of that. Just you type after localhost client v2 is the new environment that wrote in React. You can here also see the components. You can add the components. So here you are. We could successfully review the setup parts. If you have any question, just contact us through this GitHub. We will provide you contacts. Also, we will update it as soon as we develop more in the project. Thank you very much for your attention, and hope you enjoy.